Hello, my name is Rui Hua, and I am here to conduct propaganda for my first book manuscript, Peasants Versus Empires. So I want to invite us to step away from the big cities of coastal China for a moment and to think about how China connected with the world through its borderlands and through its countryside. So my borderland is Manchuria. This name Manchuria, it does not exist on any world maps today. But then in the early 20th century, this was a crucial battleground between the Russian Empire, the Japanese Empire, and the Chinese Empire. This was where the Asian game of great powers happened. And I want to begin the story of Manchuria with the story of a certain anonymous Manchurian peasant, whom we know as Mr. Pan. So who is this guy? We do not know. The only thing we know about him is that he made a lot of trouble because in the year 1908, this little peasant of Manchuria brought a lawsuit against none other than the Tsar of the Russian Empire, one of the most powerful men on the Eurasian continent. And how did this happen? So 3 years ago in 1905, Russia and Japan fought a war, the Russo-Japanese War, in Mr. Pan's home village, and that caused a lot of damages. Quite naturally, Mr. Pan was furious, but he did not turn to the Chinese government for recourse. He did not reach out to the local gentry for relief. He took matter into his own hands. He summoned villagers from his neighboring villages. He ran a secret election, and he got himself elected as the People's International Lawyer. He then bought these bogus clothes, forged these bogus documents, and somehow got onto a Russian train, most likely without a ticket. He traveled through Siberia. He traveled through the Urals. He made it to St. Petersburg. And there he solemnly went to the Russian Foreign Ministry and demanded that the Russian emperor make a personal compensation to the losses of his fellow villagers. The Russian government was completely stunned. Who is this guy? They wrote to the Qing government and said, here is a People's International Lawyer. Do you know him? The Qing government said, we have zero idea about this person, but you'd better take him seriously. So this was the story of Mr. Pan. He was not alone. He was just one of the hundreds, if not thousands, of international legal activists in this international borderland of Manchuria. And my first book manuscript aims to explain where all of this creative audacity came from in this most unlikely place. So in order to do this, I conducted detective work in 17 different archives in all of these former empires. And what I found is that Manchuria was a place of legal sedimentation. Every one of these empires, Russia, Japan, China, even the United States, brought into Manchuria its own laws. None of those laws stayed in Manchuria, but all of this legal knowledge sedimented in the popular consciousness of our Manchurian peasants like Mr. Pan. These Manchurian peasants turned all of this modern legal knowledge into a vernacular form of international law, and they used this vernacular legal knowledge to challenge all these great states around them. So this is the story of Manchuria. What does this tell us about China's connections with the world? So our prevailing narrative of China's legal modernization tells us that China reached legal modernity through state-led projects of legal transplantation, and that happened in the coastal cities. But then here is another way through which China became modern, and this happened through the everyday engagements between the common Chinese people of Manchuria and the Japanese, the Koreans, the Russians, the Americans, the Manchus, and the Mongols. And this was how China truly became modern through its borderlands. Thank you.